Good morning, students. Today we are going to take up Techniques of Scientific Management, which is part C of chapter 2. As per my bifurcation, I have gone for part C. Now, here what happens, we have following techniques included in our syllabus: functional foremanship, standardization and simplification of work, work study, differential wage rate system, and mental revolution. Mental revolution is not directly a topic, but it is included in the case studies within the boxes given in NCERT. We'll take up the first one, that is functional foremanship. As the name suggests, functional foremanship is a situation of factory at shop floor level where we are bifurcating the entire activity in two parts: planning and doing. Planning is mental work, whereas doing is execution part. You could see at the bottom, I have written DIRT for planning, D-I-R-T, DIRT, and IMSG for execution. That is, I am messenger of God. It is a mnemonic that we use for remembering the specialist working in these two departments separately. So we are coming to those specialists. In case of planning department, as you see, ICC is instruction card clerk who is drafting instructions for the factory. Route clerk, RC, is specifying the route for the movement of man and material in the factory premises. Then time and cost clerk is preparing an estimate of how much time and cost is to be taken for completing a job in the form of a cost sheet and time sheet. Disciplinarian is ensuring proper discipline while the work is going on. These four are specialists in the planning department. Whereas in the production department, we have speed boss who is checking the speed of the work. That means neither you should be too slow that the work is not finished, nor this fast that you are ending up with some or other accident. Then gang boss, as the name suggests, he is a group leader who is responsible for arranging the tools and materials to the worker to get the work done. Then is RB, is repair boss. He is the one taking up maintenance part, and this maintenance is usually divided into two: breakdown maintenance and preventive maintenance. Breakdown maintenance is usually costly and it is under emergency condition, whereas preventive is a regular overhauling, changing of the screw, nuts, bolts in order to avoid breakdown maintenance. And then is inspector, who is there for checking the quality of the output. Now we come to a comprehensive view of how they work in the next slide. You see factory manager being classified into planning in charge, production in charge. And within planning you have four: instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. Now as you could see, in front of all the three we are putting clerk except disciplinarian, with a simple logic that they are using pen and paper to execute their activity, whereas disciplinarian is actually functional, but we cannot call him discipline officer because that would be not justified that four people at same level, somebody you are calling officer, somebody you are calling clerk. So we say disciplinarian. And in the production part you will find that boss is used as suffix for the three, that is speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, with the simple reason that when you are getting the work done, execution part is there, you need to have some bossism effect to get the work done, but in inspector you don't need. So that is why we are not putting up there. He is a quality in charge who will not get entangled in any sort of bossism. He is the one only to give a certification, accepted, rejected for a commodity. And all these 4 plus 4 specialists are ultimately looking on to the workers who are working. The work band who is working is under strict vigilance of all these 8 bosses. Now, as you could see, this is what is functional foremanship. But if we see the overall implication of it in the next slide, you will find it is an extension of division of work, because all the 8 people under the 2 departments are specialists. So it is an extension of division of work. But since here the worker is being guided by 8 bosses, it is violating unity of command for Fayol's principle. So normally it comes as 1 mark question, that which principle is being applied in this and which is being violated. So division of works extension is over here and unity of command is being violated because there are too many bosses over here. This was the first technique, functional foremanship. Now we are moving to the next, that is standardization and simplification. As you could see in the diagram itself, standardization means reducing the variety into specific slots of norms, preset norms. And this standardization gives uniformity in activity. For example, if we say 2 mm screw has to fit in this groove, whichever company is going for producing it, it will be of the same specification. So this standardization goes with specification, which is understood and underlying fact, and it ultimately simplifies the work. So standardization and simplification is your next technique. Now if we take example of it, if you go to a shop and you know your size for footwear is 5, whether it is Bata or Sri leather, with minor variation in the design, that 5 number will fit you. This is the benefit of standardization and simplification. So we can justify by saying that it is defining and applying the conditions to ensure that a given range of requirement that can normally be met with minimum of variety and in reproducible and economic manner on other basis for best techniques. And simplification as an outcome of that is known for variety reduction, makes the process simple, and availability of suitable standards assist in simplification. It is here the durability of a product is there. Any spare part which is not working because of standardization, you can change that. Now, the areas of standardization could be 3. First, the input part, where we say the raw material, method, then is the process part, and output part in terms of quality and quantity, along with the price. Now coming to our next third technique, we are coming to the third technique, which says work study. Now this work study goes with the integral element of motion study, time study, fatigue study and method study. Once you go for your higher studies, it will be bifurcated in terms of work study, which is bifurcated as work measurement and method study. And within work measurement, we have time study and motion study. But right now, from your 12th point of view, what your NCERT and CBSE takes, that simply saying work study includes 4 items within it: time study, motion study, fatigue study, method study. Now we'll be taking one by one. First is method study. Now method study is individual specific best way of doing the work. For example, if you are having a warehouse, it is up to the warehouse to decide how you want to maintain the inventory, whether on LIFO, FIFO or HIFO. That is last in first out, first in first out or highest in first out. Here there could be many other examples like a tailor working. Now if you are a new tailor and you want to capture market, normally what happens? You would like to be fast in finishing the orders. So what you will do is, you will take a piece of cloth, you will immediately sit, cut it, then stitch it, then iron it and go for delivery of it. That is your way of working. That is your method of working, because you have to capture the market. Now the other way around, if we say experienced tailor is there, he already has a reputation, he will not go for this, and moreover maybe he is old also. So what he would do is, he will take time, sit with the bundle of maybe 20, 30, 50 clothes, whatever are there, cut it, then sit on the machine, stitch all of them, then be on the iron table, iron them, and then he will give a delivery date on which he is going to deliver all. Both of them are right from their own way. That is their own method of working. So method is always individual specific. It is individual specific. Next we come down to the scope. Definitely within a given situation it improves the method. The best sequencing you do as per your requirement, then it soothes the material flow without avoiding any confusion or backward movement, then improves the working condition. In certain cases, monotony is also reduced when it is a case of event management and other things. Then better utilization is there, elimination of unproductive operations, and it reduces your cost through reducing the cycle time. Now we come to the next one, next element of work study, that is time study. When we say time study, we say what is the standard time for completing a job, and the standard time is decided by average time plus relaxation time. Average time is the time taken by an average person under average working condition to complete a work, and we include relaxation time within it. Now the question comes, how is this relaxation time decided? Who will decide that? It is decided by fatigue study. It is decided by fatigue study. Let us take an example that your standard time for a class period is 40 minutes or 1 hour maximum in certain schools. How do you decide that time? You check out. Mostly till class 10 we prefer saying 40 minutes is justified, because after that the child cannot retain. Some they trip over after 20 minutes only, and some can continue even after 1 hour. But in general you find average student goes with 40 minutes retention capacity. Then after 3 to 4 periods you find that the child gets exhausted. So we give a short break where the child can go and relax. So we have to see what is the time by the fatigue study, and see what is this fatigue study. It is a study to find out that particular point from where the man trips over from his state of mental alertness. Now this means what? Apparently it will be visible that the man is working, but he is not working, he is exhausted. So why to go for that? So here we give a relaxation time so that After that relaxation time, when he comes, he is fresh to again patch up that gap and gain the efficiency in order to show his productivity, right? So the frequency of this relaxation time and the duration of this relaxation time itself is a big chapter within it, which your NCERT and CBSE is not taking up, so we will also not take. But it is through the fatigue study only we decide that at what regular interval, at what frequency you need to give and what should be the duration of it. Now we are coming to the next one, motion study. When we say motion study, it is a close observation of the movement of different parts of body of a person, and we use various photographic techniques which you find in movies also in slow motion camera, or at times you will find that suppose in school if a child is fainting, you'll find his friends asking what happened, did you felt first and then became unconscious, or you became unconscious first and then you fell down. How could the child say that, dear? It's not possible. So there what happens, if you have proper camera, you go on rewinding and forwarding it again and again and you will find what exactly went. This is what happens when you see cricket also. When it is a sixer and other thing, they go on showing it in slow motion. Every movement you can closely monitor. And what you can see at the name Frank Gilbreth was a person who had taken up an initiative of reducing 18 movements to bare minimum 3. That means all unnecessary movements he eliminated and the work became very simple. Work became very simple. So wherever you find as unproductive work, you try to eliminate it. Now, what you can see over here on the slide, that an average worker, when he is performing the job, then what is his movement, then you try to differentiate between productive and unproductive movement, and you try to cut down all the unproductive and wasteful movement. Now we are coming to the next slide, that is Taylor's differential wage rate system or piece rate system or piece rate system. Now usually what happens, be very alert while understanding this, because people get confused over here. Even though till now CBSE has not asked a detailed question on this, but still we'll take it with full sincerity. Normally what happens, we have two basic system of making payment, time and piece rate. Now this differential piece rate system is an extension of piece rate. It is an extension of piece rate where we try to discriminate in between efficient and inefficient worker. What you can say that F.W. Taylor introduced this plan with the standard performance being established and the different slabs created with different rates. Once you cross the slab, the new rate is applicable right from the first unit of production. The new rate is applicable right from the first unit of production. Now this part we'll try to take with help of the example in the next slide. Be with me, please. You will find, let us take an example. Till 10 units, if I say at the rate of ₹5 you get the payment, that is the first slab. What you can see, unit of production arrow, then rupees 5 till 10. I've skipped out 10, I could not put it over there. And the moment you cross 10 units, the 11th unit, your new rate is applicable, rupees 7, and you could see that the arrow is right from the beginning, from the first unit of production. Now see the difference in the working. In normal condition, if it is a normal piece rate, what happens? A worker will get 10 units into 5, 50 rupees, 11 units into 5, 55 rupees. The difference is 5 rupee. Now for 5 rupee, if you are not hand to mouth, you will not slog like donkey to work. But the moment we come to the next system, differential wage rate plan, at 10 you are getting 10 into 550. But the moment you are crossing that slab of 10, you are getting to the 11th unit, it is 11 into 7, 77. And you find the difference of 77 minus 55, 22. 22 rupees is not a joke. It's a big figure. So every worker would try to cross his limits and come to the new slab. So you are not doing anything, no monitoring. They will not go for idle gossip. They will work sincerely because they know if any defective product is there as an output, they will again be back in the reverse gear. So the worker is self-motivated to work and cross the slab of 10 and come to 11th unit of production. So that the 2 rupees extra that he is getting on those last 10 products that he had already produced is a differential incremental aspect for him. A bit clumsy for you, but not that much because you are only taking 2 slabs. At this level, only 2 slabs are to be taken. But normally a company can take up 3 to 4 slabs also for beginners, for ones who are average, for experienced, for extra specialized personals and so on. So again I will recapitulate this part because this was a bit typical, that we have different slabs with different rates. What you could see, till 10 units, rupee 5. On crossing 10, rupee 7. And on crossing that particular slab, the new rate of 7 is applicable from the first unit of production. Here only students make mistake. They simply write that new rate is applicable from where they do not. And you lose marks because of that. Yes, if you have wrongly gone for description but your working is supporting that, yes, you are showing that part, the head examiner would consider and they suggest to the examiners that this has to be taken up, right? We are coming to the next part, mental revolution, please. You will find that there is a star mark. It's not in your syllabus this time, earlier it was, and it is an overlapping topic of principle and technique both, where your mindset should be such that you are ready to accept something. And it's only when theoretically it is imbibed in your brain that this has to be taken that you can actually work on it. So first it should be in your thinking process, which is the blend of principle, and how to accept it is part of your technique. For example, workers, they are part of the organization. They are the ones responsible for giving you profit. So they also deserve the return in terms of bonus, in terms of certain other benefits, right? So mental revolution, not in your syllabus this time, but you should be aware of this, that it is also one of the technique. And in case of factory, we focus on the relationship in between the management and workers. There has to be change in the mindset. Worker is your part. Now with this, we finish with the techniques of production. I am thankful for you to be with me for these techniques, and those who had been subscribing me regularly, I am thankful to them. Please do spread if you feel it is worth. With the experience of 25 years, I would like that the benefit should go to every student who is willing to learn, even though this is first time we are sharing with the e-learning, but even I'm enjoying, and I hope those who are actually having that learning spirit in spite of all oddities would learn through this. We can win and we will win. Thank you. Please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.